edition of Tech Talk, we'll be looking into aftermarket exhaust systems. We'll be discussing the basic principles of how they work and also how they increase the performance of your car. We'll also be researching the legal implications associated with them as well. Exhaust systems are one of the most important aspects of modifying a car. Most people actually consider it to be the first thing that they ever do when they modify their vehicle. So why do we modify them? There's three main reasons. The first one is to increase performance. The second one is to increase the looks of the car. And the third one is to change the sound of the vehicle as well. When designing a high-performance exhaust system, we do need to take into account gas flow properties and aerodynamics. The principles for making power with a naturally aspirated car and turbocharged car are quite different to begin with. However, after the turbo or after the extractors, the theory is basically the same. We need the least amount of restriction and the most amount of flow possible through the exhaust system. On a race car, that's simple, just a straight bit of pipe. However, on a road car, obviously we do need to take some things into concession. We need to take noise into concession, as well as the design to fit under the car and also emissions. So obviously we need to have a catalytic converter as part of the emissions testing. And in terms of flow, basically the pipe needs to be of a size that will allow enough flow through the car. Okay, first up we'll run through the different parts of an exhaust system. We'll start with a naturally aspirated car. The first part of the system is the exhaust manifold. After the exhaust manifold you have the front pipe. The next part usually in the system will be the catalytic converter. This bit here is referred to as the midsection. Within this section we can have different resonators and mufflers, etc. Then after the midsection we've got the rear section. Now most people call this the cat back section, and within that we've also got the muffler and the exhaust tip. The most important part when designing a high performance exhaust system for a naturally aspirated car is the exhaust manifold and the front pipe. In this case the exhaust manifold is actually called a set of extractors. The role of extractors is to extract the exhaust gas from the cylinders as fast as possible. One general rule of thumb we can apply to extractors though is in regards to the pipe diameter. Basically a small pipe diameter will give you better properties to make power down low and in the mid-range, but it will choke the power up top. However, large diameter pipes will enable more top-end power, however you will sacrifice low-down power and torque. To determine the best setup for your car, it is advisable that you do visit your local exhaust shop or mechanic to work out how to set up your vehicle. On turbocharged vehicles, with the exhaust system, it's generally a case of the bigger the better. However, what's really most important is making sure that the flow through the exhaust system is generally free and has no restriction. Okay, the difference with a turbocharged car is the dump pipe. The dump pipe comes straight off the back of the turbocharger and can either be a single piece dump pipe or it can be incorporated into the front pipe of the exhaust system. And just like with NA cars, we also have the midsection and the cat back section as well. You can actually see that on the dump pipe there is a flat plate that covers the wastegate coming out of the turbo. This causes a huge amount of restriction and a lot of turbulence inside that area and puts a lot of back pressure on the turbo. Now by having that back pressure on the turbo, it makes the turbo spool up later and also chokes it when it's trying to make power at the top end of the rev range, so it's quite bad for performance. Now here we have a full WRX exhaust system from Hi-Tech Mufflers. If you have a look at the inlet to the dump pipe, you can see that the opening for both the wastegate and the turbine have a free path into the rest of the exhaust system. What this does is reduce back pressure onto the turbo. This allows the turbo to come on boost earlier, and it also allows the turbo to keep on flowing at higher revs and make much more top-end power. So as you can see by comparing the two, by changing the dump pipe you are allowing more performance out of the turbocharged vehicle. With the rest of the exhaust system, it's important to minimise the amount of restriction in the airflow. On the factory WRX system we're using here, you can actually see there's two catalytic converters as well as multiple bends through the exhaust system. All of these add up to create more restriction. However, on the Hi-Tech Mufflers exhaust system we can see here, there's only one high flow catalytic converter and very minimum amount of bends, which are all mandrel bent. All of these take out as much restriction of the exhaust system as possible to help increase the power levels. Another restrictive part on exhaust systems on turbocharged cars is generally the rear muffler. For example, the rear muffler inside a Subaru WRX is heavily baffled and actually takes multiple different paths within the canister to help reduce noise. And this obviously causes quite a large restriction. If you look at the high-tech mufflers, one that we have here, it's basically a straight through muffler causing very minimal restriction and helping increase power. Often what people do on turbocharged cars to begin with is actually just replace the rear section, which obviously replaces the muffler, taking away quite a bit of restriction. WRXs actually sometimes tend to see anywhere of up to 10 to 15 kilowatts extra just from replacing this rear section. The biggest increase in flow comes from increasing the diameter of the pipe on the exhaust system. If you have a look here, the factory exhaust system on the WRX is only 2¼ inch, and at some parts in the exhaust actually gets down to 2 inches in diameter. But if you have a look at the high-tech muffler system, it is 3 inch the entire way. This offers one of the biggest improvements in flow and therefore the biggest improvement in horsepower. That brings us to the end of our tech section. Make sure you tune in for the next one. And remember, stock standard is poor standard.